Hey folks, I've got this Tamarillo tree. It's a tropical plant and I want to grow it indoors. Actually, I want to grow it over winter in a completely automated, hands-off kind of environment. Let's see if we can do it. So we're going to be growing this Tamarillo tree in a grow tent in my bedroom, and we're going to be planting it in this rolling, self-watering, trellised planter from Vego Garden. So I'm going to unbox that. And I've also got a full spectrum grow light from Barrina that I'm going to be setting up in my grow room. But first, a little backstory on this Tamarillo plant. I got this in July from a friend, and it was like this teeny tiny plant. I put it in a pot and it started to grow, and it grew and it grew, and by September the leaves were literally this big. They were bigger than my face. And just when I was done taking photographs and sharing with my friends, the squirrels came and literally chopped it down to a stump. I was devastated, but I took the top off and I planted it in a pot, and I kept my fingers crossed that the stump would grow, and it did. So now I have two plants. It grows so fast that I wanted to see whether I can continue to replicate those conditions over winter inside in a nice, humid, tropical-like environment. So I'm going to be putting it in my grow tent, and I'm going to show you how I have completely automated my indoor grow station in my grow tent. And this is not just for this plant, it's for my seedlings, it's for other plants that need some warmth during winter. So we'll go ahead and unbox these, get this set up, and then I'm going to show you how I completely automate my grow tent setup. So this video is actually part 3 of my indoor grow series with these Vego planters. I wanted to show you how cute they were. I'll also put links to the videos at the end of this one. But this is a self-watering herb planter. It's sitting on my kitchen windowsill, and I have been harvesting chives and basil and all kinds of things from it. It is so handy, and gosh, it looks so cute. So be sure to watch that video because I talk all about the self-watering feature and how it works and why it helps these herbs grow so well. And then there is this adorable thing. This is a curry leaf plant that's growing in this mini planter. And in the video, which is part 2, I actually explain how to set up your grow station and all the things that you need for it. So be sure to check out that video as well. And of course, I talk all about this adorable little planter with a little teeny tiny trellis. Now, this planter that I'm going to be opening today is the mommy. It's the larger version of this, so we're going to be setting that up as well, but I'm not going to be talking about the self-watering feature or how to fill it or how to set up the grow station because I've done all of that in these prior videos. I am, however, going to be talking about how I automate my indoor grow station because I like things to be as hands-off as possible. Hey Ori, don't eat my herbs. This is the thing that I have to watch out for is I've got these cats, and she particularly loves to eat anything green. So I've got to be so sure that nothing is toxic. You're such a sweetheart, aren't you? Mwah. I love her. She's such a sweet little girl. Hi, princess. Okay. All right. Back to the video. Let's unbox. This is a self-watering, rolling tomato planter pot. I'm going to be planting a tomato tree. Have you ever heard of tree tomatoes? They're an interesting tropical fruit, and I have not tasted the fruit, and I am keen to, but this tree, it grows so fast. A little instruction booklet, which I never usually look at because these are just so easy to put together. It doesn't seem like there's something obviously different about this one, and I've already done 2 of them, so I think I'm a pro. Start your planting journey. That's what I'm doing. My indoor automated grow tent. Now this is the water gauge. You put this in, and then this shows you whether or not it's time to refill the water in your planter. And let me show you the planter really quick. It's a nice size. This box out of the way, the cat's going to climb into that box. So this is what the planter looks like, and this is the self-watering feature. It absorbs the water from here. You've got the water at the bottom. I use this as a hydroponic system, so I put fertilizer in the bottom, and I've talked about that in great detail in the prior videos, so make sure that you watch that. And then the gauge goes in here, just like that. This little bobbing thing inside shows you the level of water, and here's the slot that you pour the water into. I'm going to go ahead and fill this up. I've talked about the soil as well, but basically it needs to be an inert mix. That's what I prefer to use, and I explain all of that again in my prior videos, so make sure that you watch those because there is a continuity between these videos. Even if you don't watch those, you're definitely going to learn a lot from this video on how to automate your indoor grow station setup. I've got the trellis parts in this box, but I'm not going to put the trellis right now because it's going to be difficult to maneuver this thing with the trellis up. So this is the trellis. There's got to be some wheels somewhere in here because this is a rolling planter, and those are the slots for the wheels. So let's go ahead and install some wheels. Those are the wheels, and let's see how easy these are to install. Literally that easy. No screws. That's one thing I really love about all of these planters. They are just so easy to install. I set them up literally in a couple of minutes, and I'm not exaggerating. And then I'm just gonna press down on it so that the wheels, sorry about the noise, so that the wheels go in properly. And woohoo! Look how easily that moves. I love these planters. They're really high quality planters. Beep beep. All right, so I went and filled it up with soil, and I also filled up the bottom of it with water that has some fertilizer in it. And again, I talk all about this in my prior videos, but in a nutshell, this is a chemical fertilizer. You're perfectly welcome to use organic liquid fertilizers, but I use this. It contains the range of micronutrients in it. It's one of my favorite brands, not sponsored, but that's what I use in my water when I fill this up because I wanted to get that continuous nutrition. Again, we're trying to automate everything, and this self-watering planter kind of actually functions as a semi-hydroponic system, and the soil in it wicks the water up, and the water contains nutrients, and that helps the plant grow. I do not have any organic material at all that will break down and cause fungus and that kind of stuff. That's for the outdoors. For my indoor plants, I like to keep things fairly inert. While we put this aside and let this absorb, I am going to unbox my grow light that I am really excited about. All right, let's put this away. I'll give it some more water if I feel it needs it, but right now you can see it's up to the top. So once that starts to settle down a bit, I know that's going to need more water. That's the beauty of the self-watering system. It practically tells you when it needs more water. Okay, so I am incredibly excited to unbox this grow light, this full spectrum LED grow light from Barrina. And it's going to be one of my secret weapons, if you will, in creating that fully automated indoor grow station. Now, one of the reasons why I've not been able to grow tropical plants like this Tamarillo plant indoors is because I've not had full spectrum grow lights. I've been meaning to buy them for a while. They are a little bit pricey, and frankly, I was mostly growing seedlings for which you could use the shop lights. But if you want a plant like this to thrive, you need those full spectrum grow lights. So I've been seeing a lot of great reviews about this Barrina T10 LED full spectrum grow light, and it's at a great price point compared to some of the others that I was looking into. So this is a 4-foot tall grow light, which actually is great if you're trying to do tropical trees like I am, or any tall plants or creepers, tropical creepers indoors. This has great coverage as well, not just vertical height, but it's also got great coverage. All of the lights that I have so far are from the top. And this actually can be also made to be horizontal, but I'm going to be using it as a vertical light, and that will give light to the entire plant, not just the top leaves. Some zip ties and hangers. I guess if you're installing the light horizontally, you want to be able to hang it, but I'm not going to need this for now. Keeps going and going. This is a really long light. Wow. That is a tall light. What else do we have? Okay, so it looks like there's a base for it, and this you're gonna screw the light onto it, and then it sets up on this base. It's nice and heavy, and that's really important because for a tall light like this one, you don't want it toppling over. They've got a timer. Now this is really nice. I was actually reading some reviews, prior reviews, older reviews on this product, and a lot of the people said, hey, it would have been nice if it came with a timer. Looks like it does now. So isn't it great when companies actually listen to the feedback that people give them and do something about it? This is awesome. Let's set this up. Let's see how easy it is to do. I'm going to try and do it without the manual, like I always do, and see whether I get anything wrong, and I usually do. My husband's always telling me, read the freaking manual, and I never do. We've been married for a very long time, and he's the handy person. And I just know that if I mess up, he'll fix it for me. Isn't that nice? And this, maybe I should read the manual. Yeah, what do you know? It's a height extension kit. So if I want it taller, I can use that, or I can leave it, but I don't know whether I'm going to need it. So for now, I'm not going to add that. That is so cool. That is so thoughtful. I really love it when companies are thoughtful. And I think this company seems to have been taking feedback very seriously, which is really awesome. So this is how it looks. It's got this little steppy thing that you can step on to turn it on and off. Okay, let's turn it on and see what happens. Okay, we're all plugged in and ready. Dun, da, da, da. Whoa! That is bright. It has literally lit up the entire room. So I think it's actually a little too bright for me to do my project. I'm going to actually turn it off. And I have a feeling this is going to be great in my grow tent. Off you go. Whew! That's one bright light. Now, another thing that I really like about this light is it does not consume as much power as you think it would. It consumes roughly about 42 watts. I think it said 25 to 42 watts a day, which is not very much compared to the other more expensive products that I've seen, which can take up to like 750 watts a day. So this is very economical as well. I feel like a school teacher or a magician. Okay, so some of the features of this grow light, obviously it has that feature where you can do the vertical or you can do horizontal, which is really nice. It is a full spectrum grow light, which means that it's got all of the wavelengths that plants need, the ones that you can see as well as the ones that you can't see. And that's part of the reason why I like it, because usually when you use those shop lights, they're good enough to get seedlings going. But if you want them to really go through their entire life cycle, you need more wavelengths. I'm not a total expert on these, but there's red, there's blue, there's green, there's yellow, and my cats are playing with the boxes. And this has all that the plant needs. So a full spectrum grow light. And then in addition to that, like I said, it consumes very little power. So that's a great feature of it. And it has a very broad range. It's got great coverage as well. And it's relatively inexpensive compared to some other similar products, and very sturdily made. So far liking this light a lot. And I'm going to put an affiliate link in the description that you can use if you want to purchase this. I've actually got a coupon code that runs through the 20th of December 2024 that will get you an additional discount, so be sure to check that out. And yeah, this is a fantastic light if you want to get an indoor grow station set up. So now let's go ahead and plant up our plant, and then we're going to wheel it into our grow tent. We're going to set up this light in the grow tent, and we're going to show you how to automate everything in that grow tent. So back to our rolling tomato planter, in which we're going to be planting our tomato tree. The soil looks like it's nice and moist, and we are ready to plant it. And I've also got another plant that I'm going to be putting in here. I'll show you that in just a moment. Gentle tug. And it's got a nice little root system. I know I was disappointed when the squirrels ate my plant, but now I've got two plants. And my mother always said, whenever you plant something new, you always have to give it what's called Uyira Tanni, which is Tamil for water of life. So this is its water of life, and all this does is it just sort of settles those roots nicely in the soil. And now we're going to put up the trellis because I want to show you what I'm going to be planting right next to this. And remember, this is a self-watering planter, so you can really pack it in if you want to, because the plants are not going to be competing for nutrients because they've got nutrients in the bottom water. So let me show you what we're planting and then you'll see why I need the trellis. Let's go ahead and install our trellis. So we're here in front of my indoor grow tent, which is in my bedroom, believe it or not. And I have got my indoor grow station set up here. Now, you do not need a grow tent in order to make this work. You just need an indoor grow station. And I'm going to be talking about how you can completely automate everything about it. The lighting, the heating, the humidity, the airflow, all of that good stuff. Now, you will need some basic skills in how to use smart devices and how to connect them and automate them through your phone. But it's really pretty straightforward to do if you've got some basic tech skills, and I'm sure a lot of kids will be able to help you as well if you don't have those skills. So let's go ahead and go through it. But before I do that, if you're getting value from this video so far, if you're appreciating anything about it, I sure would appreciate a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel and helps the video get out to a broader audience. Thanks. Now let's take a look inside. And by the way, this is not the best way or the only way to automate your grow station. This is just one of many ways. This is how I do it. So really quick, the philosophy which I use to connect and automate all of my devices in this grow tent or this grow station is I use what's called smart plugs. So I'm not using smart switches, I'm not using smart lights, I'm not using smart heating mats. They are all, let's call them dumb devices that are connected via smart plugs to the electrical outlet. That way I can use one central app to manage all my devices and I don't have to have a different native app for each different kind of device that I'm using. So first let's talk about lighting. Obviously I've got my Barrina light, but behind me I've got all kinds of other different lights. I've also got these LED bulbs, I've got these tube lights, and I've got different kinds of lights that I use in this grow tent. And that's the beauty of it. You do not need to have one particular type of light because they all need to work together. You can use anything that you have because they're all going to be connected via these smart plug outlets from which they can be managed. So all of my cables connect to these power outlets, and all of these power outlets are connected to smart switches. So you can see that I have labeled them. This is L1 through 5, which corresponds to these, and this is LL1 through 4, which corresponds to this station. And yeah, that's a lot of cables because each one is connected to a different light switch. In fact, this is one cable, this is one cable. So I've got a lot of hodgepodge stuff over here, but the beauty of it is all of them connect just via these two smart plugs, and I can turn them on and turn them off on my phone manually, but I've got a routine set up which turns them on for 16 hours and then turns them off for 8 hours. That's what runs every single day. Now, if I've not got anything set up in these grow stations, I can manually turn off these lights. I've actually got a seedling tray over here, but I haven't set up any of the others. So I can actually come out here and I can turn off a light that I do not want. Now, like I said, the Barrina light comes with its own timer, but this is not a smart timer. I want all smart timers. So what I've done is I've left it permanently on and I've connected it to the smart plug that is now controlled through my app. Now, I use an app called Smart Life to control all of my plug outlet points. And there are other apps out there. This is one of the better ones. And you may say, hey, can't you connect it via Alexa or via your Google Assistant? And yes, I can. But what I found is that these dedicated apps do a much better job of managing things like schedules. It's a little more complex and a little more hoops to jump through when you have to do it through something like Alexa or Google Assistant. So I use the native app, but I am able to control my native app from Alexa or Google Assistant. So that's kind of nice. So for example, if I just want to turn off this device, this is connected through a smart switch called Pi. So if I need to turn off just this light, all I need to do is say, Ziggy, turn off Pi. And it turns it off. Ziggy, turn on Pi. All right, we're back in business. So you see how I can connect all of my lighting devices, as an example, to one smart plug and then use something like Google Assistant or Alexa to turn all of them off in one shot or turn them on. Now, I don't normally do that unless there's a reason to, but I usually let the schedules automatically kick in at a certain time in the morning and turn off at a certain time at night. Okay, now let's talk about the heating mats. Now this is a little bit more complicated because I want the heat mats to be on as long as the soil temperature is not yet 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But once it hits 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature at which the seedlings grow well, germinate and grow well, that's when I want the heating mats to turn off. So I've got a separate device for this that is triggered to turn on when the temperature of the soil drops below 70 degrees. Let me show you. So here is the device. You can see 70 degrees Fahrenheit is what it's set to trigger on. And right now it's 64, so technically it should be triggered, but I've not got it hooked up yet. And you see here, there's a thermometer. I've actually wrapped it in a little bit of plastic because I'm going to be sticking it in soil. So I stick this into the soil, and then I've got all of my heat mats that are connected to this device. So as soon as the temperature of the soil drops below 70 degrees, via this thermometer, this probe that's going to be stuck in the soil, that's when the heat mats will come on. And if the temperature hits 70 degrees, the heat mats will turn off. All of the heat mats are connected to this power outlet, and this cable is connected right here to this device. I hope that makes sense. I will put links to all of these devices, the plug points, the thermostat, all of that I'll put links to in my product descriptions. Okay, so finally, the fan. Now, the fan is really, really important because this grow tent, it gets really humid, especially when I've got plenty of seedlings in here, there's moisture in the air, there's the heat mat, it gets really incredibly humid. So the fan does need to come on at regular intervals and cool things down and dry things off a little bit. It's an old fan, but it does the job. This is the cable of the fan, and it is connected to this smart plug. And again, this smart plug, via my phone, I've programmed it to come on for about, I think, a half hour, 3 or 4 times a day. And this grow tent actually has little pockets here and there that open to the outside. So I do open these up if the room gets really, really humid. I do not like the grow tent to be open because I've got plants in here, and my cats, especially the black one, very, very curious and likes to eat things. So I like to keep my grow tent closed at all times. But these little openings here, I will open those up, and then the fan will let some of that humidity escape, and then that keeps the room nice and dry. Now there's one more way that you can trigger your fan in a more automated manner. I've got it at set times during the day, but I've got a device, another device that I can actually hook into the fan system that will trigger it whenever the humidity reaches a certain level or when the temperature reaches a certain number. So this here is another little Wi-Fi connected device. It reads temperature as well as humidity. You can see the temperature is 65 degrees and the humidity is 59%. So if it reaches a high level of humidity, I don't know, 90%, something like that, I can trigger the fan to come on, and I can set up a routine in Alexa to be able to do that automatically. I'm not going to get into that in this video. In fact, I'm not even going to set that up. I'm just going to rely on this plug point to come in at a regular schedule and turn the fan on and then turn it off after a half hour each time. So like I said, I have got product links to all of the products that I've talked about in this video in case you want to get any of them. I've got affiliate codes for Barrina as well as for the Vego planters, the Indo planters. I think they are all awesome products. I would not recommend them if I didn't absolutely love them. And I've also got discount codes. Everything's going to be in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video, folks, and do leave some comments below. What are your thoughts? How do you automate your grow stations if you do? Did you find this video helpful at all? Was it a little too techy and too complicated? Whatever feedback you can give me, I sure would appreciate. Until next time, live green and love your greens.